Hello and welcome to Cutting to the Bull in the Post-Truth Apocalypse. I'm Ben, and as always, I'm hanging out with Mike.
Hello.
Claire.
Hey.
And Pete.
Hello.
Today we're going to talk about a particularly British kind of scandal, I think. It's the mad cow disease scandal of the 90s. Well, it actually goes back to 1947, but it hit its peak in the 90s.
Or BSC, as it is more.
Yeah, CJD, BSC, we'll get into
yeah.
what they stand for, because it's off the top of my head.
Fuck knows.
It's,
Funny words.
I know what they are, but I can't pronounce them. I need to read them.
Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease.
That's right, and then there's Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. We'll get into it. Anyway, BSE, mad cow disease, and how it may come for you. It won't.
Well, we may have it. We don't know.
We don't know. We don't know. As people sat here right now, we grew up in Britain at this time and eaten beef, or Pete may have been somewhere else, doesn't know.
Anyone that's eaten beef since the 70s, basically, and 80s.
1947?
I used to eat some really dodgy meats in Saudi.
Yeah, but it didn't start affecting the cows too.
Oh no, yeah.
Who knows what I ate when I was out there?
So until the 70s, if you ate beef in British
70s
beef,
up to the 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah, early mid-90s.
96.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, we'll get into that in a bit.
We'll get into it shortly. Let's thank some new and returning listeners this week. Where shall I start? Darlington in the UK, McHenry, Illinois, New City, New York, Frankfurt am Main, Perryville, Missouri, Bordville, Oregon, it's a big list, London, United Kingdom, Zeist in the Netherlands, Ashburn, Virginia, Madrid, Spain, Guadalajara, Spain, and Belfast in the UK.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening. Thanks a lot. Tell a friend. Tell them to follow us on Facebook at Cutting Through the Bull in the Post-Truth Apocalypse. You can do that too, by the way. You have to tell a friend and then not do it yourself. That would be silly. You can listen to us on SoundCloud and most other podcasting platforms at Cutting Through the Bull in the PTA. And YouTube Apocalypse Bull. Give us a like, a subscribe, a listen, tell a friend, tell several friends. Put it into their phone. That's what I do to people. Make sure they subscribe.
Just grab them, slap them with it. Just slap them with it.
Slap them with their phone.
Yeah, just get it on their phone. It's like, into their face. Make sure you fucking watch and listen to this. End off.
Maybe don't do that because you're going to get charged for assault or, depending on the country you live in, shot.
No, I suppose. Alright, don't do that then.
Yeah.
Just be nice about it.
No. Now, moving on.
You're not getting the crown.
Well, I'm wasted on you people. The United Kingdom. Sorry, I said you people. I know we're all white, but it sounds bad, doesn't it? The United Kingdom was afflicted with an outbreak of bovine spongiform enso. Oh crap! I practiced this earlier at work. Bovine spongiform encephalopathy. Close enough?
No. Encephalopathy.
But that's
Encephalopathy.
There we go. Bovine spongiform
Encephalopathy.
I knew this.
BSC will do.
I knew it was going to trip me up tonight. I was sat in the yard at work reading it and listening to it, and I still knew it tripped me up. Known as mad cow disease and its human equivalent variant Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, which is VCJD, in the 1980s and 1990s, over 4 million head of cattle were slaughtered in an effort to contain the outbreak, and 178 people died after contracting CJD through eating infected beef. A political and public health crisis resulted.
See, I remember the burning of cows.
See, this is cool because we all kind of remember this. We were in our teens.
It's not cool.
Yeah, we were early teens. But I lived in a village called Wharton, which is in between Blackpool and Preston, and it is very much a farming community. So we were a small village, just surrounded by farmlands, like literally for miles and miles and miles in every direction. Farmlands up to the sea, about 20 miles west.
Lots
Yeah.
of cows on
Did
this
you see
farm,
any
man.
of the-
Lots of cows, lots of cows.
We saw many a burning fucking smoke plume, basically.
Did you see the mad when they went mad? Because
No.
they sort of like shake, don't they?
They go palsied, they
Never-
shake, their
never
legs
saw
go
anything like that.
under
But
them.
the problem
It's quite
was,
tragic to watch, man.
they just killed lots and lots of cows that were probably not even in any danger of BSC or anything. But that was
Well,
the sadness of
the
it.
problem is, since 1947, Britain has had this thing where the government paid subsidies to farmers to maximise food production. Because in 1947, we've just come out of the Second World War, and rationing was still in place in this country until 1950s, late mid-50s. My dad can remember rationing still. It's like
We imported a lot of
1953.
food, didn't we?
We imported a lot of food. We needed to maximise our food production. So we came up with this idea of giving cattle basically themselves. We turned herbivores into carnivores. Because cannibals, even.
It was the shit they were being
We used to
fed,
give them.
wasn't it? Yeah.
We used to give them soy, and then they decided that they were going to look at giving them sort of meat derivatives. The stuff that-
No, it's got a great name. Mechanically recovered meat. Eyeballs, arseholes, offal.
and brains.
Oh.
And
Like
brains.
stuff that we don't eat, basically. That's
Yeah.
what they give to the cats and dogs now in the dog food.
Yeah.
Or they used to.
Or they used to,
anyway.
yeah.
Not so much now. Here.
So they were like,
Mad cat disease.
It did go into cats.
Yeah.
It did, yeah.
yep. So they used to give the cows this, and it was cheaper, and it produces more milk.
Wasn't it all to do with the marrow and things like that? That was.
It's all the stuff that we don't eat.
But it was things like the marrow. That
Yeah,
was
the
like
brains,
main
the bone,
thing,
the
It's
wasn't
a
brains.
brain tissue, actually.
it? Was it?
Yeah.
Brain- It's a prion disease, and a prion is a protein that kind of mutates into a virus through means not really fully understood. But if they know they could weaponize prions, then you could take over the world. Probably, you could affect certain groups of individuals if you tailored it properly.
Is this
So-
why I keep
so-
seeing searches on how to create prions on your Google?
Number one, why are you looking at my phone? Number two, what did you think of the porn?
That was alright, actually. The dog one, and I wasn't so keen on that.
That was just Max chasing the Hoover.
Ah, that's alright then.
And number three, what? Shh.
Do you say strings of proteins?
It's a protein cell that basically mutates.
Sounds a little bit like COVID from what I've been reading.
Well, who can say? Can't say too much on that subject, Claire, because YouTube won't let us.
Oh, right.
Allegedly, let's say a big fat allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, so the outbreak has originated in the practice of supplementing protein in cattle, because obviously herbivores and vegetarians have trouble absorbing protein.
So they wanted to give them more.
Give them more,
What's the best
make
way?
bigger cows, lots of more milk. Better to kill them, because you're getting more meat on that cow.
Yeah.
And it's a meat and bone meal, which is mechanically recovered meat.
Yeah,
Which is a
that
bit
must,
shite.
that must be why I was thinking like the marrow bone from it, like the bone meal. I do remember when as soon as you said that, I remembered that. I remember back to fucking the 90s, thinking, that's right, 'cause they're feeding them themselves, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were cannibalising them.
Yeah, they're basically turning cows into cannibals, and like I say, a prion, it's infectious misfolded proteins, gets into the nervous system, and the remains of an infected animal can still spread the disease to animals fed on such a diet. So if you've got
Up the food chain.
a weirdly acting cow and you go, oh fuck that shit, shoot it in the head or do whatever you're going to do as a farmer, you're then having that cow taken away, it's been processed, blah blah blah, it's gone into our food chain and it's been put back into the cow's food chain.
Oh.
Whereas people were going, what's wrong with this cow?
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
like, oh, kill it, eat it.
Old Jessie's having a bit of a fit. She's no good anymore. Turns the milk sour, that does. I don't know. Some farmer saying. You know what farmers are like. They're an odd people in the UK. I don't know what they're like in other countries, but they're a bit sort of...
Bit of a stereotype in there, right here.
No, not really.
How many farmers have you met?
I've met quite a few actually, and Ben's not far off the truth there.
They're a bit
You have to be a
eccentric, aren't
certain-
they?
You have to be a certain breed. to
They're a
be
bit
farmer.
eccentric to get up at like... if you know, I mean, God's sake, if you're a lamb farmer, it's lambing season now. I know that because all the lambs are on the prance.
24 hours a day.
Yeah. It's like, you know, they're two getting shifts. He might have a 2 a.m. till 4 a.m. shift.
It's not. It's
And you're
not
like,
easy.
yeah, no, you don't want to get. Then you've got to go up for work the next day and go and do like 12 hours of fucking hard physical labour, or sitting in a tractor doing your ploughing.
You only have to look. You only have to watch Clarkson's Farm.
Yeah,
To get a slight taste of, and he does it in such a
stupid.
blasé.
You know that's on a separate note. He's been kicked out from Amazon.
Oh, why?
That column he wrote about Meghan
about
Markle,
Meghan.
which was odd. I think I don't know if he was having a stroke when he wrote that or something, because it was an odd article. But he's obviously kicked off against St. Markle, and Amazon have kicked him. They said, right, you know, we filmed these. I think they're up to season 3 filming of Clarkson's Farm. That'll be the last one. And the Grand Tour, they filmed another sort of 5 or 6 specials of them, and no more of them.
That'll be
And, you know, well, there's your 2 best shows gone down the drain, Amazon. Well done.
He'll just
Well, not your 2 best shows. 2 of your most sort of family friendly. Sit there and watch it with your mum and dad.
Platform.
Yeah,
He'll be all right.
yeah,
He'll get on
Netflix.
another platform because people love him. Because he is funny. He's a cock.
He's
very outspoken.
You know, he's a
but
good TV
he's-
presenter.
yeah,
You
he's
can't
funny.
argue. Top Gear suffered when he left. Sorry, I had a massive tangent. It's British culture night, isn't it?
Yeah.
There you go. Tainted beef and Top Gear. There you go.
But no, you are
A match of the day.
though. Farming's not an easy job,
No.
is it? But
You're going to be a certain type of eccentric to want to do farming. So BSE is a neuroderivative disease of cattle caused by misfolded proteins known as prions. Symptoms include abnormal behaviour, trouble walking, weight loss, and eventual paralysis. Prion diseases such as BSE are universally fatal. The time between infection and onset of symptoms is generally 4 to 5 years, and time from onset of symptoms to death is typically weeks to months. Now, if you could weaponise that and take that 4 to 5 years down to a few minutes, you got a zombie plague on your hands.
Yeah.
that's sounding very much
Paralysed zombies, though.
Well, you take that bit out.
Sounding more like what you were saying earlier as well.
Now, at the time of the outbreak, cattle farming was the largest sector of British agriculture, comprising up to 38% of the UK's entire agricultural product, and was capable of providing the vast majority of domestic brand for beef and dairy, and this was obviously due to policies enacted after World War II. When we got into the EU, obviously, we could export more stuff. You know,
Not anymore.
not anymore. That was a mistake, wasn't it? Seems to have got a bit tits up, that one, doesn't it?
Just a bit.
We'll say
Who would
no
have
more.
thunk it?
We'll say who'd have thunk it. Project Fear coming true. Well, that's what happens when you trust a fucking blonde-haired idiot, isn't it? Not that I'm bitter or nothing. Now, the cattle industry had produced a breed of dairy cattle that had high milk yields when fed a high-protein diet, and feeds derived from animal sources such as meat and bone meal have been used since the early 20th century and were found to increase milk yields more than those derived from non-animal sources, like Mike said, soybeans. Give them soy, don't get as much milk. Make them into cannibals, get more milk.
You'd be thinking that, yeah, I know they've got cow pats, haven't they? They've got pretty slippy poo anyway, but surely it would make them more ill than that on a digestive level.
I don't know, but surely I'll be questioning, is it right to give cows meat? Especially their own species? Is cannibalism?
It's like feeding
Yeah,
a fucking
yes.
pig bacon, isn't it? Like Cartland does.
Well, pigs eat anything.
Yeah, I know, but
I'm talking about...
Meat, bone, might they'll
but
go
you
through
want
it.
to give them bacon. They're sick at it and giving them bacon. Yeah, because they'll eat anything. Make them eat bacon.
Yeah, but it's not as bad as giving a herbivore.
No, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? They're not
Yeah.
meant to eat meat.
It's like giving a vegan a fucking Whopper burger, telling him it's one of those pretend ones.
Oh, that can be quite funny.
Like, yeah, it's this pretend Whopper.
Well,
Honestly,
done
you
that.
can't tell the difference.
Pigs, though, they'll go through bone like butter. Well, you need to shave the hair. You should take the hair off the body, because that'll
Pull out the teeth.
put out the teeth. That'll play havoc with the digestion, that will. But yeah, they'll go through bone like butter. They'll devour a corpse in like 30 minutes. Did I say corpse? I meant anything.
Anybody that's watched Silence of the Lamb, not Silence of the Lamb,
Snatch.
Snatch.
Snatch, yeah, would know that.
British cattle are believed to have become infected in large numbers in the 1980s through the use of meat and bone meal or I like mechanically recovered meat. It sounds just grim and capitalist, doesn't
We've
it?
all been eating that for fucking years. Every sausage we've ever eaten, probably.
Well, if you have a beef sausage,
Unless you don't eat... No, every sausage, like...
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
Disgusting, like...
Sometimes ham as well, you see on the back, it'll say mechanically... Whatever.
When it's not real ham, when it's like that fucking rubbery crap.
Yeah, it's not good.
So this illness come about in the cows just because they were feeding them, like cannibalising them.
Yeah.
So there was, it wasn't in the feed or anything.
No, 1947, they decided every cow's going to have this meat and bone meal instead of soya.
And the product of it.
And then 40 years later, 30 to 40 years later, then it started noticing some cows acting strangely.
Yeah. Getting ill-tempered. So, yeah, obviously, 1980s, we reckon we're getting largely infected. This included the remains of cattle which had spontaneously developed the disease, as well as sheep infected with scrapie, which is a similar disease in sheep, while the inclusion of brain and spinal cord tissue in mechanically recovered meat increased the likelihood of infection. So yeah, you're feeding cows and sheep their own species brains and spinal columns minced up into a meal.
So are any other countries doing this?
Don't think so.
No. I mean, the Americans have some dodgy food standards, don't get me wrong, but the fact that no other country's meat was ever banned because of this. Although there has been recent outbreaks, and still in Britain actually, as late as 2019, but it was kind of one-offs. That disease.
Rogue farms.
Yeah. And a few other countries have had, again, isolated outbreaks. I think Spain might have had one. A few in South America. But it's never on this scale.
And then even when it first started getting noticed, they told the farmers, okay, well, switch back to soya. But a lot of the farmers weren't doing it because it was still cheaper to buy the meat and bone meal. And it's getting better results, so they're thinking, fuck it.
Well, yeah, you get higher milk yields and then you get more
money
meat.
in it, more profit.
We'll play the blame game at the end.
Yeah.
Don't worry. In the 1980s, you get the first cases of BSE in cattle on a farm in Sussex in December 1984, and the earliest confirmed case was by a post-mortem examination of a cow from the same farm in September 1985, although it was not confirmed as such until June 1987. Guess who's in charge right now?
Thatcher?
Yeah, the Thatch. By November 1987, the British Ministry of Agriculture did accept that it had a new disease on its hands. In 1989, high-risk foodstuffs like offal were banned for human consumption, and widespread fear about beef led many British consumers to stop purchasing it. So yeah, people still see offal in this country.
When did they ban it then?
Ban what?
1989, they banned offal.
Offal. No, ban T-bone steaks.
Not yet.
Not yet. My dad went out and brought nearly a whole freezer full because he fucking loved T-bone steaks.
At the time of the crisis.
Yeah.
He's a brave man.
Fucking hell. I think we stopped eating for a bit.
You don't know her, Dad, do you?
No.
It's not. There's no surprise in it whatsoever.
The meat's tainted. We're gonna stop selling it. Fucking hell, better get a freezer full of it now.
Oh, be cheap now.
That is Steve all along. Completely to a nutshell in it.
Yeah. Just couldn't believe it. Like thinking back on it now, it's just like, what was you doing?
And how much he must have spent as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, that bet it would have been dirt cheap, mate. It's all infected.
Yeah, it might have been.
I bet it all went up reduced. I bet they
He
didn't
did
wait.
tell you he got it out of the back of a bloody big bin out at the back of Morrison's.
It said not for human consumption on it.
You know that little triangle with the arrows and the skull in the middle? Did it have that on it?
And all that fucking yellow and black tape all round it.
He went to the reputable Rosalie Butcher.
Oh. Well, okay then.
What he got
Mad
there?
John Hackett.
You need Mad John Ellis. He's a very reputable butcher, I've heard.
It wasn't until he caught mad cow disease.
Yeah, well, it twitches a bit, but he's only lost 3 fingers. Obviously, 1989, everyone starts going, ooh, maybe we shouldn't have this beef from Claire's dad.
The Tory government is still going, it's perfectly safe.
Yep.
It's only in cows, it can't be transferred to humans.
I think they didn't. I don't think they so much went ooh. I think they went ooh.
Yeah, not getting the punk crown for that either. Mine was better. Moving on. 1990 to 1994, the disease started to spread to other animals. A crucial basis for the government's assurances that British beef was safe. It's safe. It's 100% safe. For God's sake, it's 30% of the fucking agriculture income.
It's safe to feed other cows.
They said, no, it can't infect other animals, and that was founded on their experience with the scrappy infected sheep, which had proven unable to cause any illness in humans. So it's okay to do it with sheep until it obviously fucking jumps or something. However, scientists studying BSE were already questioning this assumption, and on the 10th of May 1990, it was widely reported that a Siamese cat named Max had become infected with BSE, providing the first confirmation outside the lab that BSE could be transmitted between species through eating infected meat.
Never.
Poor Max.
Yep.
Mad Max.
Despite this, the government maintained the British beef was safe.
Don't you worry about that.
Cat's already dicks. Imagine Mad Max.
Well, he'll be on a walk, Claire. He'll be very mad, won't he? It'll be horrible.
Yeah.
Despite this, the British government still says it's safe, and later that month, the then Secretary of State for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, John Gummer, appeared on TV encouraging his daughter to eat a beef burger and declared British beef to be completely safe. She was 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what though? We never stopped
On the
eating
news.
beef.
On the news, eat that beef, kid. I know this is bad, but eat it anyway, because profit.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Tories.
Yeah, I'd have been like, 7, 8 at the time. 1990.
990, I'd have been 7 at this point. So we'd have all been 7, apart from Mike, who might be 8.
I'd have been 8.
And people were 8, me and Claire are the babies of the group.
Mm-hmm.
And you were younger than me or older than me?
I'm older than you.
Oh, I'm the baby of the group, fantastic.
February?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't know which day.
The second?
That.
Third.
Isn't it? Yeah, that's it.
No way, I'm exactly a month later. Glad you fucking hell, I'm impressed.
Hell yeah, you're 40 in a couple of weeks.
Welcome to the 40 Club.
Is it any good?
No shit.
I'm not going to be 40, I'm 39 again. I quite like being 39, I'm going to stay at 39 for a couple of years. Age is the construct, man.
It is. That's why I'm not really asked about the 40 thing.
That's what paedophiles say.
Oh, there's a straw man argument. No cases of, a cat, a tiger actually went on to develop the disease in a UK zoo. At least one tiger in a UK zoo got the cat version of this. So they're feeding the tigers, feeding the zoo animals and stuff too. Cases of the disease in cattle continue to rise despite bans on feeding offal to cows, and peaked with 100,000 confirmed cases in 1992 to 1993. In an attempt to stop the disease, a total of 4.4 million cattle were slaughtered during the outbreak. And I can remember the news.
Yeah.
There was like triangles of burning cows
Drove past
in
them.
fields.
Drove past them.
I just remember the dumper trucks with like cows' legs
yeah,
coming
yeah.
out the sides and watching. Like they were showing this on the news, and then tipping its load, and then just dead cows just rolling out onto these
See,
places
you know
that
that
are
time.
gonna burn 'em.
You know that time of year when you drive past the fields and they've got like a mound bank of all the manure and things like that they're about to spread.
Yeah.
I've seen that, and it's always steaming a bit, like 'cause it's all fresh. And
It
shit.
stinks.
Yeah. Well, I remember driving past that, but instead of being the manure, that pile, it was fucking burnt
Yeah.
carcasses and things
Yeah.
like that.
These burning cattle
Don't get
in
me wrong,
the
they did-
fields.
They didn't do it right next to the road.
Oh,
They
that's
didn't.
awesome.
They would always do it in like the furthest field away from everything.
They've had They've had no guilt about feeding you tainted meat for fucking 10 years, well, since 1947, but they'll move that burning cattle away from the road.
It was
That's nice of
great.
them.
Wharton smelled like McDonald's for about 3 weeks. Or a big barbecue or something, I don't know. No, you could smell it, and it wasn't a terrible smell. It wasn't. It was beef getting fucking barbecue.
Alright, I'll take your word for it. We didn't go for countryside drives in the summer of the mad cow infection.
I was just playing in my local
He's running around the fields.
dig site, that was it, yeah, that's what we did.
Let's just be glad it wasn't airborne and, like, you know, off the flames and shit. Fucking hell, that could have been nasty.
Yeah.
Didn't give a fuck
Like
about
a
things like that.
spread of
did
mad
you?
cow disease across the world.
Yeah, God. Could you imagine that would have been one big fuck up, wouldn't it? Jesus.
Oh yeah, we sold the ashes and turned it into meat and bone meal. Oh shit. In late 1994, a number of people begin to show symptoms of a neurological disease similar to CJD, a fatal disorder that occurs naturally in a small percentage of people, though usually only later in life. This new form of disease will go on to be identified as a variant of CJD, which is VCJD, occurring primarily in younger people and caused through eating BSE-infected meat. The first known death from the disease occurred on the 21st of May 1995 when the 19-year-old Stephen Churchill died. Although the UK government continued to emphasise the safety of British beef, and in September 1995 concluded there was insufficient evidence to link BSE and VCJD. It was not until the 20th of March 1996 that Stephen Dorrell, the Secretary of State for Health, announced that VCJD was caused by eating BSE-infected meat.
So 12 years later, in 1984, they first found this, and it's safe for humans, there's no problem. And for the next 12 years, as it's getting worse and worse, they're still sticking to that line until finally they have to admit it, because more people are dying from it. 177 people.
That's 177 people we know about, because the earlier versions of the disease only affected the elderly who were getting similar sort of Parkinson-like symptoms anyway.
Well, that's they said it does occur naturally sometimes in older people.
Very rarely, it's.
Yeah.
So 177 people will go on to contract and die of the disease.
That's as of June 2014.
Now obviously when BSE was identified, the United States immediately banned the importation of British cattle, and 499 cows have been recently imported in the UK were killed. The United States also slaughtered an additional 116. Between December 1997 and November 1999, the British government banned the sale of beef on the bone, hence Claire's dad rushing out and buying T-bone steaks.
That's the one.
So they're still selling it, just not on the bone.
Don't know what difference that meant.
Well, it's held within the bone, isn't it? The disease.
Yeah.
Which is why all your meats that were just fucking mulched up, bits of bone and all sorts, it didn't matter, did it? 'Cause you remember when you used to buy burgers and you'd always get bits of bone in them, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That's why, because it was just all fucking mulched up into whatever, bits of bone in it. They didn't give a fuck, and that was the change. Then they stopped the bone being an issue. You didn't have to eat the bone then.
Now, a week after Dorrell's announcement, on the 27th of March 1996, the EU imposed a worldwide ban on exports of British beef. The ban will go on to last for 10 years before it was finally lifted on the 1st of May 2006.
Cool.
Although restrictions remained on British beef containing vertebral material and beef sold on the bone.
I think the French have only just lifted the ban, haven't they?
I think they have, yeah. Because basically the French also rely a lot on agriculture and cow farming there. I think they didn't like
The competition.
the competition. British beef has always had this
It was probably
weird...
their idea then, wasn't it? Don't worry, I have a perfect way you can feed your cattle and make them have much more milk. Use this.
Just feed their cows croissants.
It was the French all along. They set us up. They sabotaged us.
Beef in British culture has always had this kind of thing, hasn't it? Like beef, it makes you strong. You've got to be strong if you eat beef. It's a weird thing. Do you all agree with that? You're
Red meat makes you strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's British beef. Because we've got such rolling hills and lush green fields. Obviously, our cows are better fed than anyone else's. The French in the Napoleonic Wars used to call us the roast biffs, which is roast beef. Right? It's so synonymous with Britain beef in some weird way. And this is like a major fucking hit, isn't it? Let's face it. The French have only just lifted the bid, probably because they're also a bit of like fucking English. 2006. Basically, the UK, we're all still eating it.
Yeah.
No fucker else is. So during the height of the crisis, as well as after cases began to decline, the UK government came under criticism for its response, and in particular for how slow it was to acknowledge the problem, to inform the public and to take steps to deal with the outbreak. And on the 22nd of December 1997, an inquiry was announced in Parliament to investigate the history of the outbreak and the actions taken in response. It was consisted of a committee with a few lords and some people, June Bridgman, Malcolm Ferguson Smith, Lord Phillips of Worth, but Travers. These all sound like people who fucking... Certainly Lord Phillips of Worth, Travers and Malcolm Ferguson Smith, to me, makes it sound like they own fucking land.
Yeah.
100%.
It provided its report in October 2000, and the report was published in full by Nick Brown, the Secretary of Agriculture at the time. It was critical of the government, surprisingly.
No shit.
And not only the government, the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Food, and the Chief Medical Officer, Sir Donald Archerson. That's your problem, isn't it? Your Chief Medical Officer's going, it's cool, eat it.
And why is he doing that? He's getting pressure from the government, isn't he?
Of course, and that worries me because obviously, let's say, allegedly COVID, when some high-ranking doctors were pushed out and allegedly to toe some kind of line on vaccination safety, allegedly.
Yeah.
Who can say?
Allegedly.
I mean, wouldn't be the first time it's happened, would it?
No.
Allegedly.
No. And allegedly, that'll all come out in the future anyway.
More than likely.
Allegedly.
So the future risk.
The future risk. The original outbreak of VCJD only affected individuals with a particular genetic makeup. Those only make the M form of the PRNP, which is the methylene valine polymorphosine at codon 129, which I assume is some sort of...
That bit there, mate.
Which is a bit of acid in your DNA somehow, probably. That little strand of acid in your DNA.
Just above the kneecap.
Just above the kneecap,
Yep,
probably.
just there.
They tended to become ill quickly in the first wave, while individuals with another form can be infected but asymptomatic for years or even decades, so they get it later. This has led to some researchers, including Graham Jackson of the University College of London, to warn there could be a second wave of VCJD infections years later. And in late 2014, the first case was reported in an individual with both forms of the protein. So, it's still out there. We're all at risk in this room.
I don't think we ever particularly ate beef off the bone, which is, I think that was where you were at the highest risk, isn't it? If you had that kind of beef, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I never had beef off the bone, but I had a lot of. We had rump certainly. We ate steaks.
Right.
Beef burgers.
Beef burgers, especially.
We never did. We'd eat minced beef.
It's still in there, mate.
That was about it, and like a joint of beef or something on the Sunday roast.
Yeah, but we've all. The point is, it doesn't matter whether how much we eat beef or not. It's only going to be that one, maybe that one bit of beef from that cow that's been fed to the other cows, and one of them gets it, and then we eat that meat. There you go. The fact that let's play the blame game.
Margaret Thatcher, blame her.
Apparently Thatcher knew about this in the late 80s and knew the consequences and what could happen, and said, "This 38% of British agricultural output.
I'm more interested in closing down all the mines."
You're losing your mind, and you can't afford to lose your fucking agriculture either, can you?
Yeah, that would have put Britain into a complete slump, wouldn't it?
Well, it did, because we had to kill 4.4 million cows in the end anyway.
There you
We
go.
were about to kill less if she'd acted sooner.
Yeah. And it wouldn't have killed as many people, would it?
No. And as I say, we have all eaten this meat at some point in our lives. So has a lot of people elsewhere, I'd imagine, because British beef, as we say, somehow synonymous with Britain.
Well, yeah, I
It's
think
as a mark of quality beef fed on the rich rolling farmlands of the Shires.
I don't think it's her fault. I think it's the person that went, oh yeah, let's feed
Let's
them
do
this.
this.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the profit-driven market economy, then, isn't it?
So we're blaming. So
There's got to
that's,
be a person that went, oh, I'll make this or.
They did it because it was cheaper and it got better results.
So we
whoever's idea it was to do that, they're the ones to
well,
blame.
we had. So let's go capitalism. Thatcher's government, the Conservative Party at the time. Although let's not put all the blame to one party, because it was started in 1947. So successive parties have been in and allowed this process to continue. But let's face it, covering up is still really shit.
Once you've
So the Tories the Tories are getting 99.99% of the blame.
The original farmers that...
The original farmers and the farmers that sort of should have really known that this probably wasn't very good to turn herbivores into
The
carnivores.
farmers that still kept feeding it to them right up until the end because it was still cheaper and they were ignoring the advice.
You know, a lot of farmers voted for Brexit so they could take away, loosen the EU food standards. So you could start putting fucking eyeballs and fucking anuses back into pork pies and shit.
I thought they were in there already.
It won't be the same without them, though.
Well, maybe the farmers were sold on the product, not that, you know, or they didn't even realise there was beef in it.
They were blindsided themselves.
Yeah.
I think they knew a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
they're
called
not-
meat and bone
Because
meal.
it's protein. It's
Yeah.
mechanically it's extra protein for
They were all
those
fully
animals that
aware.
don't get a lot of protein because they're herbivores.
If
Now
they were all
maybe-
fully aware of the ingredients, then
Yeah.
bad drills. Because especially then, 60, 70 years ago, a farmer was a farmer. They'd probably been taught by their dads who were taught by their dads. So they would have fucking known animals in and out. In
Animal
them days
husbandry.
especially. 100%. So they'd have known.
Or wifery in some cases.
Yeah, probably. But they more than likely would
I
have
love
known.
you, Bessie.
If they were given the ingredients, they should have been like, well, they can't be feeding that to old Bessie. She can't be eating no fucking cow. No!
Do they know it's cow?
Alright,
Because-
old Bessie, she only eats the finest grass. Can't be feeding her that shit.
What if they tell you that Bessie can produce like X amount of more milk and make you more money?
Oh, fucking brilliant. Give me here then, lad.
They'd sell it to them as just extra protein, and you know.
Do you know what? They probably didn't know the ingredients
No,
when they
I
were
don't
given
think
it.
at first the farmers
Because ingredients
did, and
weren't a thing in them days. No one gave a fuck about what
You
the
think-
ingredients were.
It's called meat and bone meal.
Yeah.
It's MBM.
Was it always called that though? That's my point.
I'm guessing. Well,
Because through
let's
this-
face it. The British government at the time did, and then successive governments gave them subsidies to get more. If they made more, they got more. Basically, if they produced more, they got more subsidies. Alright? That's what it boils down to. So they're thinking, oh, they're telling us to use this stuff, I'm raking in more money. It must be going well. There can't be any risk. None of the fact that, you know...
If all the farms around you are using this meat and bone meal, they're making tons of profit, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that.
That's a bit unsure about it.
Still getting the soya, and your farm's failing.
Yeah. You're not lasting
Either
much
you've got
longer,
to
are
change
you?
or go out of business.
Yeah.
I think they'd have marketed it as like, oh, this special protein, you know, and.
All right, you're a farmer. I'm gonna give this new protein and put in a cow. Yeah, to feed the cows. What's your first question?
What's in it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
come on. I think
Yeah,
you're being a bit.
These are my livelihood.
They
But
know.
then again,
But then again,
70
in the
years ago,
40s, did they know?
Yeah.
would they have even thought
No.
to ask that, or would the person have? He wouldn't have had to have been fucking honest. He was just a fucking what do you call it? Snake oil salesman in a sense. Like, oh yeah, don't worry, this is absolutely fine. But what it will do, it'll make your cows bigger and stronger. They'll produce more milk. Yeah, don't worry.
When you do slaughtering...
And it costs a little bit less than soybeans.
And the British government are going to go, yeah, do this, and tell the farmers,
Yeah.
we need more food because...
yeah, we're
We're
rationing.
still on rations until like 1950 something.
Yeah.
As I said, my dad was born in
Maybe
47 and he can remember rationing.
Maybe they didn't know. Well, maybe they didn't know, or maybe they
Well,
did.
they don't know.
Maybe they didn't know the consequences.
They don't know the consequences at that point.
You wouldn't have.
I mean, and even
But still, I'm a farmer, and giving meat to a herbivore just sounds ridiculous in the first place.
Yeah.
yeah. And let's face it, the same symptoms have been observed in humans in cannibal tribes in the Pacific, where as they get older and their cultures that have eaten the brains of the deceased, they have developed very similar symptoms to this. Right? Eating brains is not a good idea.
Even like your sheep brain.
That's a public service announcement.
You're going to piss off the zombie community, no then.
I can't piss on the zombie community, they're half on lessons.
You can buy. I'm assuming this is only like the same brain as the species you are, because you can buy like sheep brain, can't you?
Monkey
In
brains.
butchers and monkey brains
Can you
in
buy
Indiana
monkey
Jones.
brains?
Not in this country, I
In
think.
Indiana Jones,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh yeah, well Indiana Jones says it, then it's okay
Yeah,
by
must
me.
be fact.
Must be a fact.
No,
I've seen it in Indiana Jones, they eat monkey brains.
In Saudi,
They do eat
I
monkey
couldn't
brains,
tell you
don't they?
what brains they were, but we often saw brains in every butcher you go to in Saudi. I'd imagine they were more often than not goat,
Yeah.
but I was only 10 years old.
I guess
so
it must be the same species then, Pete, yeah, it must be.
I wouldn't.
I don't think any species is
Should eat
really meant
itself.
to be a long-term cannibal,
No.
because as you know, prion diseases, proteins start mutating and getting and fucking up. You know, so I don't think any species is designed to eat its own long-term.
Or short term or anything.
Well,
Well, you do get rats eating their babies, don't you?
You do, but it's not like that rat's gonna live to a ripe old age and eat like X amount of its babies to get that thing. I don't know. Does it? I just
There's
think
a lot of animals and mammals across the world that eat
they're young, yeah.
Yeah. So,
but they're not like doing that on a regular basis
No.
like these cows are.
but there's
Who are
different.
getting fed it every day.
There's
Yeah,
differences, isn't there? There's
So-
your lions and your things like that would eat young aren't doing it
Every day.
and there's no mechanical chemicals, there's nothing else involved, because when you're doing all this process, at some level there is probably some kind of chemical involved in it, more than likely, whether it's something like kind of MSGs and that, like something to plump it up a little bit.
Well, I mean, I don't think growth steroids. I think growth hormones, especially, are banned in the EU and the UK. US, they're not. I don't think
They're not, no.
They're not.
But this could have been
But-
other little bits.
But there's also other things
that.
like they'll give the animals like stagnant water because it increases weight gain. Something I don't know how it works, but more fat equals bigger weight, and animals are sold by the weight.
I absolutely hate factory farming, it's disgusting.
We need to talk about factory farming as well. They're part of this blame game.
Horrible.
Yeah.
It's okay to eat meat, but do the animals have to suffer just to get a bit of extra profit?
No, it is. It's
All up for free range. You got
yeah, free. It's got to be
Always,
free range. I mean,
always.
but the thing is, it is shit, and I hate it. But we've all sat here with a mobile phone. We're recording this on our laptop. Where do you think the minerals in that battery, the borium in that battery came from? It's being clawed out of the earth by kids in Africa with their hands,
I
and
thought
they're
you were
getting
going to
sick
tell
of
me it
it.
came from cows then.
No,
Me too.
but that's the comparison I'm making here.
Yeah.
Is that we all hate? Oh yeah, I fucking hate factory farming. I hate to see the animals suffer.
Yeah.
I just want them to live a nice little life and then get eaten so I can enjoy them.
Think all those diamond earrings.
Yeah, they
and
get killed
things.
so I can enjoy eating them.
But we don't get a choice because we're priced out of that. Most
that's
people
what I mean.
are.
Ben's got diamond earrings.
No, I'm just saying, like your diamonds.
Have I?
Your diamond earrings. Things like that.
I'm back in a bit. I'm not going to use cash for gold.
How many diamonds do people wear within this country?
That
are blood
might be
diamonds.
illegally sourced. We don't know.
Yeah.
So
There's probably thousands
Blood
of them.
diamonds, isn't
So
there?
the point I'm trying to make and bringing it all around in a full circle is
Capitalism is shit.
Factory farming is fucking terrible,
Yeah, factory
but we all
farming's
happily eat the meat. We know where the minerals and those batteries for our laptops and our smartphones and our tablets come from, but we all happily use them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we
You
just
can-
push it to the back of our minds.
But you can make a choice, can't you, with the beef? You don't have to eat meat,
You don't, but it's nice though, isn't it?
but you know.
Pete's nodding.
There's no way you'd get me a vegetarian.
No, I couldn't do it.
fucking way.
Couldn't do it.
I have to eat meat at least once a day. I really do, and that's not because I want to eat animals. It's because
It's really nice.
my body relies on it because I've always had that protein.
It doesn't matter.
kick
You
without it.
can change your diet, get protein from other sources.
Nah, it's not the same though,
It's
is
very
it?
difficult. My ex-wife tried vegan, and she lasted a couple of years, and she said it's so fucking difficult because it's hard to get protein.
Mike,
And it's just easier just to eat a fucking burger, or you know what I mean.
Mike, do you remember when you...
There's as much protein in nuts in there as meat.
Yeah,
so.
people sit there eating.
Yeah, but
do you remember when you
have to
moved to
eat
Holland, your first ever
a lot.
flat, like, and you went vegan for a bit? But
I
before
went
you went...
vegetarian for a year, yeah.
Like, before you went vegetarian, you used to have, like, when I come round on a Saturday to watch the footy, you'd have a fucking stack of bacon
Yeah, I like
sarnies.
bacon.
That was your... Like, and then you went
Bacon's one of
vegan
my
and you went to the
weaknesses.
turkey... Was it the imitation
Yeah.
bacon? Your face didn't look the same, man. You did not look as happy. You look miserable.
In Saudi, we used to get turkey bacon, and so this is way before.
I do like turkey bacon, though, but it's just not the
it
fucking
was
same.
okay. It was
Claire,
okay.
where you stand on turkey bacon? You feed a family.
See,
No.
I just remember one of my fondest memories of turkey bacon. I know it's weird, but sitting at the beach at the
You know
Red
what?
Sea.
I go with the beach and the turkey bacon on the beach.
But
I don't know
like,
why.
having
You see,
That sounds
Having our
better
little
than
Barbie.
bacon and everything in this country.
Yeah, but having our little Barbies, you do. You have your bacon butties. I always remember though, like it was one of the first times we'd had the turkey bacon because we wanted to have a breakfast that morning kind of thing, and so we tried this turkey bacon. We were all a bit like, just looks like a very thin.
it's
tongue.
just thin. Yeah,
It's
really
like a
does.
floppy dog tongue.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, like a thin
You know-
dog tongue.
you know what? I'll take it.
but
If there's
it
nothing
was
else going,
alright.
I'll take it.
It was all right.
Would you take the plant-based bacon?
No, it's
You
nasty.
you
man.
can't call it bacon, man.
Bacon.
Bacon.
It's
Bacon.
bacon.
I've tried it because Laura
Yeah.
tried it, and
Not that nice,
I was
is it?
like,
Yeah.
nope.
So, alright, we're drifting off the point slightly. So, in the blame game, the Conservative government for covering it up.
The little Frenchman who invented it.
Maybe. Allegedly, the little Frenchman invented it. We won't count him for the
To get back
purposes
into English.
So, number one, the Conservative government for not doing enough to
Yeah.
jump on
Once
it.
it was highlighted.
Number two, the
Yeah.
farmers.
I was going to say capitalism, number two.
Alright, yeah.
Capitalism. Because you know
Wants
full well
profits over anything,
Without
over
the
anything
money.
else.
profits
Yeah.
over public safety.
Yeah.
Number three, the agriculture industry, the farmers.
Yeah.
Number four,
God.
God, cannibal cows.
Fuck you, God.
So
What,
that
you think the cows should have just turned their noses up,
I do. I think they should. Oh, no.
turned round and just shat on it?
I'm not eating that. No.
Still not getting that crown, babe. So, I'm putting the Conservative government at the top.
I think there's too many
For me.
people to blame for it.
I go with the Conservatives because even though the capitalistic ideal is high there, the Conservatives still have they are the British government.
In
They are
1984
elected to.
Yeah, in 1984, when they had the first sign in the cattle,
They should have been like, oh
Yeah.
shit,
Should have been on it.
jumped on
They
it.
are elected to look kind of, public safety and all that. Not let us consume
derelict
too
of
much.
duty in
It's
it.
a bit of dereliction of
Just
duty.
like leading us into a climate crisis.
No, it's fine. No, trash of the economy, and how many
Yeah.
days was it? That lettuce lasted longer.
Fuck me. We do live in a kakistocracy. The worst amongst us rule us, man.
Yep. Only the shit floats to the top.
Just some fucked up facts.
Yeah, man.
Team
Yeah.
tune then, please.
Facts, folks, facts.
Facts!
Facts.
The Three Gorges Dam in China shifted so much water when it was built that it slowed the world's rotation.
Do what? Can you repeat that? Say again, please.
The Three Gorges Dam in China shifted so much water when it was built that it slowed the world's rotation and moved the poles by 2 centimetres.
Wow.
Okay.
How the fuck would they know that?
Hey,
2 centimetres.
they'd know by
Fuck off.
GPS, wouldn't
Yeah. And it slowed the... Okay, it only slowed
When
the
was
world's...
this though?
I don't know. It only slowed the world's rotation by 0.06 microseconds, but...
Again,
Got these employers, they just
how
always
do
want
they
extra.
know that? Like,
Instruments
guess-
measuring it.
It's GPS, isn't it?
when was this?
I don't know. Three Gorges Dam.
If that was in the last 30 years,
It was
but
built.
if it
I
was-
think Three Gorges Dam was built fairly recently.
Okay, so if it's in the last 30 years, fair enough. But
I'm
it just
aware
sounds
of
to
it.
me like something that happened in
It was
the
wasn't
60s or something.
Wasn't there a massive fucking thing where that fell apart? Or was that, am I misremembering World War Z by Max Brooks? Because that Three Gorges Dam collapses in that book, and I'm sure something bad has happened.
Well, it's in China. Something
And
definitely.
I don't trust Chinese engineering.
While you're looking for that, I'll go on, shall I?
Yeah.
In the 1980s, you had 17 minutes to escape a house fire in the average American home.
Okay.
Yeah. But because of the flammability of modern furniture, it's now closer to 3.
Shows you shit was made so much better back in the day, wasn't it?
I thought everything had to have them anti-flammable stuff on them now.
Sofas
don't they?
do.
Yeah.
That's it. Sofas
Is it?
and beds.
Bedding does, doesn't it? By the way,
Well,
there's
no,
nothing- I don't-
mattress. Sofas and mattress. That's it. Bedding itself, no. You can have silk. You can have there's no
That's
standard,
true.
is there?
That's true.
But the mattress itself, and
I do sleep in
sofas,
Egyptian
chairs,
cotton.
That's it. Any chair that's cushioned, because it's all to do with the foam used within the cushioning.
I sleep in
That's-
Egyptian cotton.
Sure you do.
I do.
And his silk underwear.
Naked as well.
Naked in Egyptian cotton.
Oh.
2,000 thread count. It's beautiful.
An endling is the last surviving individual of a species.
Interesting.
Oh.
Yeah.
You got any?
Yeah. Well, there was one, wasn't there? The thylacine. What was his name?
I have no idea. He's
Benjamin.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I'm sure it was Benjamin the thylacine that used to. The Tasmanian tiger, basically.
Oh.
He was the last one in a zoo, wasn't
Is he dead?
he? Yeah.
Long dead.
So they're-
He was an
they're
endling.
gone then.
Yeah.
Couldn't
Although there have been a few sightings in Papua New Guinea.
I hope so. It'd be nice. I love those kind of things where like something that they thought was extinct and it's been spotted. It's like, it isn't extinct, one survived.
Back from the grave, baby.
Or
It might not
they're
be.
zombies.
Yeah, it might be a dingo. But, you know.
No, that was eating babies.
Chupacabra.
Allegedly.
That's why they died out, was the dingoes, wasn't it?
Goddamn dingoes. You'll have to answer for dingoes.
They outcompeted them for food and.
Bit like the grey red squirrel.
Yeah.
Fucking squirrels.
Men with large noses have large penises.
Bullshit. Bullshit. My old mate, fuck it, I'm not going to name him.
Small nose Jeff.
He had a huge fucking nose, massive nose, and he didn't have a big dick. I'm not,
I was
I'm
going
not
to say,
being
like,
gay.
small nose Jeff had a massive dick.
It was someone I knew in the forces, so I'd showered alongside him plenty of times, and trust me, he didn't have a big dick. And he had a massive nose, bigger than any fucker I've ever met. Seriously, it was huge.
bigger than the Roman nose.
I will show you pictures of him.
Alright. Well,
But yeah, he did.
that's the one. That's the only anecdotal evidence
It's
you've
the,
got there.
it's the only evidence I've got.
Yeah.
But
Well, this is too. I mean, my nose is apparently quite large. I'm not going to say they don't come with a swan's neck for nothing.
fucking hell. Moving on.
Do you wipe your own arse?
Hey.
Do you wipe your arse with it?
What, with his nose?
You'll
Don't
be able to see that.
don't kill him. Don't make him laugh.
No comment. Let's just say the tip touches the water.
Is it all bendy though, like a swan's neck?
No,
that is the
just
case.
the girth.
You do need to get to a doctor's.
Just the girth.
Oh shit.
Does anybody know what the Cookie Monster's real name is?
Bert.
Gerald.
No.
Frank.
No, begins with an S.
Steve.
Shitface.
No. It's Sid,
Sid. Oh wow.
apparently.
How little we know ye, Sid.
Everyone just always knew him as a Cookie Monster.
Mm.
Mm.
He'd have a thing for cookies, didn't he?
Nom 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 nom.
He really did. Does. I don't know, is this all going?
He's
Think so.
going to be alive forever.
Oh, fantastic.
Just like
He'll be
Santa's
eating them
law.
cookies in the apocalypse. His fur will be a bit singed and, the hand holding him might be slightly mutated.
Switch.
One eye might be missing,
Maybe
but he'll still eat those imitation cookies in
No,
the
he'll
apocalypse.
switch to Twinkies.
Twinkies.
So
Ah,
they're the only
fucking-
things left.
You know what? Love a Twinkie.
Meh. That's how I feel about it.
They're okay, but I wouldn't pay £1 fucking each for one.
No.
Well, they've gone down in price now, but goddamn, I love a Twinkie. I bought you those Twinkies, they were £1 each.
That's what I mean. That's what I was saying.
That was dedication to the cause,
I know,
guys.
it really was.
Fully functioning vaginas can now be grown in a lab on a hand-sewn scaffold
Quality, I'm getting one.
and transplanted into patients whose own vaginas are undeveloped.
Can you do it without patient's transplant?
That's
It's
just
like,
you
you just get a vagina.
That's just a sex toy, Pete. just
Transplant.
get a flashlight, mate. It's cheaper.
Transplant the real vagina on
It's
it.
just cheaper. Just get a flashlight.
But if you transplant a real vagina on it, that would be even better, wouldn't it?
Why don't they just make sex machines?
They did in Dust Till Dawn. You had that gun for it.
Yeah.
Sex machine. Was underrated. Sorry.
Implant it, Mike, for people that haven't got developed vaginas.
Undeveloped.
Undeveloped vaginas.
Didn't realise that was really a thing.
Mm.
Neither do I.
Not to make a thing over it, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I know of cases of people that are born without buttholes and things like that.
Or people with two buttholes, like in Weird News of the Week.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
2 vaginas.
Oh, two vaginas. Oh,
Two
Yeah, the
vaginas.
two
There was a
vagina
multiple
lady as well.
orifice Weird News.
And had to get impregnated in the left vagina because the right vagina had already been battered.
But she couldn't orgasm the left vagina.
That's right, yeah.
Listen to it on the way here.
Germany has 3 times as many sausage varieties as the French have cheeses.
Well, that's no surprise, is it?
I love a German sausage, me.
I bet you do. His name was fucking Adolf, wasn't it?
You haven't watched a lot of Nazi documentaries recently, Mike?
More varieties of sausage than cheese.
Then France has got varieties of cheese. That's a lot of fucking sausages, to
Yeah.
be fair. Because you go into one bloody what's the boulangerie? No, it's not one of them.
I've no
That's
idea.
bakery.
That's the bakery. So you got the
Fromage is cheese, isn't it?
Fromage, yeah.
What do they call a cheesemonger in France?
Whoa, whatever. A fromager. He's
You
never.
don't call them cheesemongers in this country.
He's never a fromager. He's only a fromagier. I've no
Either
idea.
way, when I went to France, I remember going into lots of cheese shops, and there's fucking loads of cheese, loads of different cheeses.
You know what? I'm torn here between France and Germany because it's like I like them both equally. French cheese,
I'd go
German
with
sausage.
the cheese. I'm with the cheese all the way.
Can I have the French cheese wrapped in German sausage?
Or the sausage wrapped in cheese.
Whatever.
That'd be
It's
easy.
all good.
That'd be easier, surely.
I could make little cheese and sausage sandwiches. Like, without the bread, just German sausage between 2 pieces of French cheese.
In all fairness, if somebody said to me, you can only eat one of these for the rest of your life, I'd be going with cheese.
Cheese.
All day long.
Yeah, I do like cheese.
All day long.
It's more versatile, isn't it? I suppose?
Yeah, not
Put cheese on anything, can you?
Like a spicy sausage, though.
Excuse me.
I'm not going to comment on what.
Alright, we'll end on this one then. Athlete Christina Tham won a silver medal at the Southeast Asian Games for swimming in 1981 as a 12-year-old. Which is impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In 2019, she returned to the Games and won gold for underwater hockey as a 50-year-old.
No way.
Underwater hockey!
That's why I read it, because I was like, maybe you guys had heard of it. I've never heard of
No, I
underwater
can't
hockey.
say I've watched it
In the
either.
Olympics.
I'm like anything in the Olympics nowadays.
No, the Southeast Asian Games.
Right, okay. Yeah, it's a new one on me. But
Yeah.
either way, it's
Underwater
quite a
hockey.
feat, isn't it? 38 years later.
I used to play hockey at school. I can't imagine doing it underwater.
Shit.
I don't think I literally, like, with on the bottom of the pool, like, with, like, sticks.
Scuba diving gear,
And
like.
you have to, the left back's gone up for a breath, the wing has gone
I used to wear
forward.
scuba
At the time,
diving gear.
at the time you,
them old like diving suits.
Lead shoes.
No, they're just wearing a bloody snorkel with a hose attached to it.
All the
so it
hoses get
goes all the
tangled
way
up.
That's part of the game. It's part of the game.
It's not Squid Game, mate.
Somebody starts like jolting a bit. It's because their bloody.
Is the ref on a separate cord so he doesn't get tangled
It's got
up
a
with them?
kink. It's got a kink.
I don't think there's any sticks or anything involved. I think we need to Google that.
Okay, what is it called?
Underwater. It's going to be some kind of like polo game, like water polo. Something
Yeah,
to go to with
it's
that,
like
hasn't it?
I'm
It's
on
gonna
it.
be.
Don't worry.
They've got to get it into the goal on the other side or something.
Yeah, but it's
you know?
under the water, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe you can play under the water as opposed to above the water.
and you've got to like time it with your breaths and
We
that
play
lot.
it here
Yeah.
apparently.
What, in this flat?
Yeah.
Oh, look, they've got
No,
snorkels on.
we play it. They do. See, my idea wasn't so crackers. They do wear snorkels. And it is literally.
Ooh, my idea wasn't good. They wear snorkels, don't you know?
It's,
Sometimes you sound just like Rimmer.
that's what I was going for.
I'm going to draw a H
No,
in my head
it's
when you get
exactly
drunk.
as you'd expect it, basically. So they've got a very small stick. It's like the size of a kitchen knife, but it's like a flat paddly. It looks like a shoehorn.
They got a shoehorn.
Looks like a shoehorn, and they just. It's got a hockey puck.
People know what a shoehorn is these days, will they?
A shoehorn is an implement that helps you get your shoes on and off.
Your formal shoes, usually. The ones you don't wear very often.
The ones that you don't want to crush the back.
Yeah,
That's it, yeah.
Looks kind of fun actually.
But either way,
And it's all about holding your breath and diving down and scuttling a puck across the bottom of a floor.
You learn something new every day.
underwater hockey, who'd have thunk
I
it?
want to play it.
That wasn't on my 2023 bingo card.
Oh, nice.
Learning about that. Right. I think we can call that a night, can't we?
Yeah.
It's a Thursday night. I haven't got work tomorrow. Whoa.
Nice.
Get smashed tonight. I've been Ben. Thanks for listening. Don't drink the Flavour Aid and don't join the cult.
I've been Mike, thanks for listening. Peace out, may the force be with you.
I've been Claire. Keep an open mind, but not so open that it spills out your ears.
And I've been Pete. I'm off to join an underwater hockey club.